Hello, a very good morning. Welcome along to Ireland Dames. Great to have you with us here on Virgin Media One.
It's Wednesday, by the way, guys. It's Wednesday. It's not Tuesday. It's all good. It's Wednesday, the 4th of January. We're hoping you're settling back into the week, and we've got lots to keep you entertained between now and we're here until 10, Tommy.
We're a busy old show. Looking forward to lots to chat about. Coming up, if you're looking to make a career change, you're looking for advice on returning to the workforce. Of course, it was the great resignation last year. People talk about moving and changing jobs. We're going to be chatting to a career psychologist later this hour, and we want to hear from you. Are you moving jobs? Are you stuck in a bit of a rut? 0896 111 111. Get in touch with us because they're going to be hanging around for a Q&A later in the show.
You should delve inside your mind, see what you should really be doing, Tommy Bowe.
Should I be?
Also on the show, we'll be chatting to one of Monaghan's finest. He's very jealous that I'm saying this about someone else. It's not you. It is
Barry McGuigan.
Barry, you could just go on and on and on with Monaghan.
Well, don't know.
Lip sync sensation is who we're talking to. Kaylee Trapp, who has amassed a huge following on TikTok, on Instagram. And in case you don't know who she is or what it is that she does, she's brilliant. Here she is, her take on Home Alone.
Give this to Kevin.
Give this to Kevin.
Give this to Kevin.
Give this to Kevin. Here you go, Kevin. Kevin's not here.
Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here.
What?
Love that show. My daughter, my 5-year-old, we just watched a bit of Home Alone over Christmas, and she just laughed the whole way through. It was great. Loved it. Yeah, so good.
Expect
Such a good show.
pan in the face
I know,
any day now,
Come
Tommy.
and try and find slime and all
That's what's
sorts.
going to happen. So we're looking forward to meeting Kaylee a little bit later on and actually hearing her real voice. You've been sitting there all day going, is she South Monaghan? Is she Mid Monaghan? We'll find out later on.
We will find out.
Yeah.
Now, Derek is in Rathmines this morning. How's the weather looking your end, Derek?
Yeah, Tommy, it's a breezy and blustery start out there this morning. Plenty of heavy scattered showers. The worst really through parts of the west and into the north out there this Wednesday. But guys, we're on our healthy buzz, as you know, right across the week. And if you enjoyed our parquet workout session yesterday, then you're going to love what we have for you this morning, because we're off for a samba dance class. So we're going to be working up a sweat. We're going to be shaking in our skin later on this morning. Are you up for it? You were great yesterday now. Fair play to you.
Colin Baker was in a leotard yesterday. I dread to think what you've got
know.
on. What have you got under
away.
that jacket?
Oh my God, he's going to try it out. Do them.
But something, you know me.
Tune in for that in just a little while. But now let's find out what kind of word we're waking up to. It's over to Anne O'Donnell in the Virgin Media News Hub.
Thanks, Maureen. Good morning. Well, the Minister for Health is warning that overcrowding crisis in hospitals is likely to get worse. Stephen Donnelly visited a number of emergency departments last evening on the day of the worst hospital overcrowding in the history of the state. Staff and management are coping with their busiest ever periods after a record 931 people were left on trolleys in emergency departments. The INMO has described the conditions in hospitals as inhumane.
The flu wave is very severe. It's hit earlier than it normally would. And so we have this perfect storm of RSV, the flu, and COVID, obviously, as well as all of the normal pressures. And that has absorbed the significant additional capacity that has been put into the system. In terms of things we can all do, my ask of people would be to continue to follow the advice from the Chief Medical Officer. So the advice still stands. It is important advice in terms of the basic hygiene, like hand washing. If people are symptomatic, to stay at home. Obviously, if someone is critically ill, they should come to hospital.
A new housing report shows property prices are continuing to rise across the country. The latest findings from the property website daft.ie says the cost of buying a home went up by 6% last year, but the rate of increase is slowing. Just yesterday, another report showed the cost of buying a home is 7.7 times the average income.
The second report in as many days showing a further rise in the cost of buying a property. The latest report from daft.ie for the final quarter of last year shows house prices went up by 6.1%, but the rate of increase is slowing. In 2021, the figure was over 8% and it was 7.7% in 2020. The average listed price of a home nationwide at the end of last year was almost €310,000 and over €425,000 in Dublin. The highest price inflation was in Galway City, with prices up 8%, followed by Waterford, Limerick, Dublin and Cork. The number of homes available to buy on December 1st stood at just over 15,200, up a third on the previous year, but still significantly below the 2019 average of 24,200. Trish Laverty, Virgin Media News.
Thousands of people are expected to file past the coffin of the former Pope Benedict XVI for the third and final day of viewing the late pontiff's body at the Vatican. The numbers filing past his remains have surpassed what Italian security had predicted. Tomorrow, Pope Francis will lead the funeral mass at St. Peter's Square for his predecessor, who was the first pope to retire in 600 years. Benedict died on Saturday at the age of 95. To the US now, where Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has fallen far short in voting to become Speaker of the US House of Representatives. The newly elected Republican majority fell into disarray on the opening day of the new Congress, refusing to elect McCarthy in multiple rounds before finally adjourning for the night. The House has agreed to return later today as McCarthy continues to fight for the votes that he needs.
Look, today, is it the day I wanted to have? No. I mean, there was a lot of things we wanted to do. We wanted to repeal 87,000 IRS agents. We wanted to set up a number of investigations we had going. We wanted to notice the different committee hearings we'd have actually on the border. None of that got transpired. But if we're able to work out our differences and take this time, we'll only be stronger to be able to accomplish the things we want.
For car insurance, van insurance, or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thank you, Ger. We're live here in Rathmines in Dublin this morning. We have got a Samba fitness class coming your way at 7:45, so get up out of bed, get your gear on and come dancing with us in the next wee while. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather together now with Alvaro Valera with us on cameras. And certainly it's a very, very windy, very blustery start out there this morning. A lot of us are going to get blown around left, right and centre out there today. Those locally strong and gusty southwest to westerly winds in the driving seat right across today. Now, plenty of showers across the island, two parts of Donegal into Fermanagh, North Kerry and along the Galway-Mayo border there. East County Cavan not escaping either now as we work our way through your Wednesday morning. Now, right across today, very similar to yesterday, a lot of seesaw weather action, plenty of scattered showers on the cards, but some bright spells pulling through as well, but still pretty windy out there today. No real let up in it in terms of that wind power out there for the 4th of the month. Top temps of about 9 to 12 degrees. Finally then tonight, those showers will be chilly as well for a time, 4 to 8 degrees, the coolest for some parts of the Midlands. But as the night progresses then, it will get a lot milder. In fact, we're going to see a system develop then from the southwest, bringing with it more wet and more windy weather once again as we push into Thursday. So that's how we shape it up here in windy Rathmines at the moment. We'll be back again live at 7:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote. Now, you will have heard it as the first story in the news. Overcrowding in hospitals is set to get worse, according to the Minister for Health, Stephen Donnelly.
What you might not have heard in the news is how Leaving Cert students have asked Norma Foley to change the exams so they don't miss a Harry Styles concert. We're going to be discussing all of the stories making the news this morning after the break.
Well
done. See you shortly.
Welcome back. It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline, state facing 14,000 refugee bed shortfall. The state is facing a shortfall of more than 14,000 beds for refugees before the end of March, with government briefing documents starkly warning that the current accommodation system is unsustainable.
Health experts, we must return to masks. That's the front page of the Daily Mail. Health experts want the immediate return of mandatory mask wearing as our hospitals buckle under the strain of respiratory viruses.
The Star leads with "She was our warrior." Bruna Fonseca's family have opened up about the last chat they had with her just hours before her death on New Year's Day.
Health Minister is the top story on the Mirror. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly warned the trolley crisis will worsen after a record 931 patients were without beds yesterday.
The Examiner goes with that same story. Overcrowding at hospitals will get worse. Hospital porters roll aside 5 or 6 trolleys holding patients and their belongings to reach someone who needs to be treated or moved.
And finally, the Irish Independent, the Sun and the Herald also lead with that same story. Crisis in our hospitals will kill people. Top doctors fear patients will die as a result of hospital overcrowding. Catastrophe.
Joining us for a closer look at that story and more is Aideen Finnegan from the Irish Times. Aideen, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
This is absolutely everywhere. The Minister speaking after a record 931 patients on trolleys. So we've blasted through that just over 700 record that have been set in December.
It's shocking. It's shocking, and yet here we are again. I mean, how many times have I been on here with you guys talking about this? What I just find so surprising is it was so well flagged. It was so well flagged for months that there was this triple-demic, you know, these viruses circulating that perhaps people weren't as immune to as they would have been a couple of years ago because we weren't mixing. And COVID and these ongoing issue we have with capacity. And I mean, obviously, University Hospital Limerick has been written to the Minister in July saying this is a serious problem. So I can't understand how this is still, how this has come out of the blue for them, you know, when it has been so well documented. I mean, the problem with the overcrowding is that it's the rest of the hospital that's full. So you can't move people from the emergency department in there. So you have to treat people, triage them in a waiting room, sitting on a chair, maybe on a trolley if you're lucky, if you're one of the lucky ones on a trolley at this stage. And it's funny because we hear about the NHS and people in the UK freaking out over the way that is buckling under the pressure. And it's like, wow, guys, that's just a regular Tuesday for us here in Ireland.
Well, I mean, like Phil Head, the INMO chief yesterday, she said, we need to know what the plan is. Telling people to avoid hospital, it's not a plan, it's not safe. And you kind of fear for people, elderly people who have a fall or who have, you know, a chest, you know, they're worried to have a heart attack, whatever else.
Well,
and will they be feared? I mean, I don't want to go to A&E because I don't want to be stuck there in a chair for hours.
This has been pointed out that there's late presentations for very serious things like cardiac problems and stroke. And, you know, the difference is that older people as well, they are the type of people who will be reading the newspapers and listening to the radio and hearing the message not to go, and they will stay away. And, you know, it's not, Phil Hay from the INMO saying as well, you know, it's not a plan. It's not a plan because you could go to an injury clinic and they'll say, well, you've got some sort of respiratory thing going on and we can't look after you here.
The thing is, these people who are waiting on trolleys are not just numbers. They're someone's daughter, they're someone's mother, they're someone's father.
It's so stressful to watch them.
But there are just over 11,350 acute beds. This was in 2022. When we finally got back to 2009 levels, there was over 6,000 more beds in Ireland in the early 80s, when we had no money. So forget about our austerity. There was more than 6,000 more beds in Ireland. But our population has now increased by, what are we up by? Almost over 500,000 people have increased in population.
We don't plan in this country.
But this isn't a surprise to them. They know this. They know we don't have enough
beds back then needed less workers around them. I think they need more staff, more nurses, more, and like that.
No, but I totally and utterly understand that. But the fact is that this is not a surprise. They have the figures. They know that we had 6,000 more beds. They know that our population has increased. They're the ones who are doing all of this. So it's not a surprise. It just feels that it's like, health will never be solved.
Yeah,
so
and we can all jump up and down about it, but, you know, who can fix it? And the thing is, we do need someone to come in and project manage the whole country.
It's called a Minister for Health, I think. Isn't that what they're meant to do?
No, but I mean, listen, but they just pour, millions gets poured into this. It's a bottomless pit.
Yes,
and
it is. I
unfortunately,
mean, you don't...
Where do you start?
Well, for instance, I think it was Professor Declan Lyons from UHL was speaking yesterday saying that, you know, there was a man who collapsed in his home in West Clare, who was brought to Limerick, who was then brought back to Ennis. So what, you know, what's the point in that? He was on a trolley for 3 days only to go to the hospital he should have gone to in the first place.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
If you've got someone who's in the hospital right now, can't imagine how scared you are because they're on a trolley. We all know that people die the longer that they wait on trolleys, and these are avoidable deaths. If you want to get in contact with us on this, there doesn't seem to be any solutions. Where's the money for the beds? 0896 111 111. You can get in contact with us. Ireland's first medically supervised drug injection facility. It's been given the green light.
Yeah,
this is going to be happening in Dublin.
Yes, it's a pilot project that will be happening in Dublin City Centre in Dublin 8. And this has actually been going on for a long time. I reported on this in 2019 at the point when Dublin City Council was considering whether to give permission for it. And there were a huge amount of objections. And one of them, I was speaking to the local primary school, and I have, you know, you couldn't but feel sorry for I mean, nobody wants a facility like this next door, and
No.
it is very difficult when it's a school, but like some of the pupils told me things like, oh, you know, I saw a man going to lying on the path and he had a needle sticking out of his thumb, and you know, it's hard to stop thinking about that. And I was thinking, oh God, the poor little fellow. So
Sorry, is this one beside? This one isn't beside a school.
yes,
is it?
yeah, it
Okay,
is.
right,
Yeah, St.
okay.
Alban's National School. So it's really difficult because obviously you that's not suitable, really, is it? But then on the flip side, there are people dying alone in laneways from drug overdose.
A lot of kids are. That's the thing. A lot of kids, if you're in school in the city centre, if you're walking to school,
yeah,
I think you're going to
even-
see it anyway.
But tourists,
unfortunately.
I was listening to a cafe owner who's a cafe in Dublin City Centre as well. He said it's literally dealing going on outside on his doorstep. There's people shooting up just around the corner from
Yeah.
it. So at least something like this will try and do it medically, keep it medically
Yes.
safe, stop injections and stop all sort of nefarious bits and pieces end up on the floor, on the ground.
And that's the point of it, is that it's off the street. It's in a sterile environment for the
clean it
user.
up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And so we'll know fairly soon how it's working.
But globally, all the
Globally-
studies, it reduces overdose deaths,
Yes.
it reduces infectious
Yeah.
diseases, and it reduces public nuisance crimes.
Yeah.
So it is a good thing, but I'm sure if there is an injection centre in next door to your house, next door to your kids in school, I can understand. But the evidence shows that it's a good
Well,
thing.
this is it. And, you know, that's a good base to be working from.
Yeah, you just wonder why the hell they're picking the place beside the school. Surely
Because
there's
they've been-
other clinics that could be in other areas.
Well,
but
this is the clinic that deals with
that
people.
deals with it.
yeah.
They've been doing it for a very long time and doing a fantastic
Yes.
job. It's got to be said. Okay, we just
Leaving
talked about
cert.
students in a very sort of a grim way.
Yes.
Now let's talk about students engaging in political action for one of the best reasons I've ever heard in my life.
Absolutely. So Leaving Cert students have been writing to Norma Foley. You know, there's been a lot of uncertainty over the exams in 2023 based on what's been happening over the last few years. But some student has taken it upon himself or herself, I'm actually not sure which it is, to say, please, 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 Norma Foley, please do not schedule a Leaving Cert exam before the 10th of June because it will clash with the Harry Styles concert. And, you know, that's going to really affect people who love and take a huge amount of comfort from Harry Styles music. Please don't do it. And, you know, I was kind of trying to think, so there's 80,000 people who go to Slane when the concert is on.
Yeah.
So what percentage of those will be Leaving Cert students?
Well, I first went to Slane when I was 15.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah, they do.
There was a huge amount of
when we
people
say,
that were
like,
there.
I hope you understand the impact this concern has on thousands of people that find comfort in Harry Styles and love his music.
Oh, do you know what though? I just want to let the Leaving Cert person to know that if they have an exam the next day, the walk back to the bus at Slane
it's hell.
is
Slane
like
is
one of
hellish.
the
Waiting
most.
for it.
But I just love if this is how we can get kids politically engaged. If Harry Styles manages to, like, what can't the man do? I am pleading with you, along with the whole nation of leaving and junior certificate student, please do not put on an exam
I mean,
on the
come
day
on,
before
get
the
a
10th
grip.
of June.
Like-
When do the exams start?
Huh?
When do they?
Well, they usually
5th, 6th?
They usually start around that date in June, and yeah.
Okay. Now,
I mean, it's already inflated grades at the minute. Do they not have that to worry about?
if you if you're that student, I salute you. Who are you? 0896 111 111. Why used you Mitch school?
Why you starting Mitch school?
Yeah. Did you ever Mitch school?
No.
Did you ever
Yeah.
ditch school?
Yeah.
Was it for a big important thing like Harry Styles, or was it just like I'm going to the shop?
No, go to the shop, I'd say.
Going to the shop?
I think I did it once to be around.
Why?
get
What
caught?
did you do?
No, I didn't. It was like in the last.
You gone off to watch The
stretch.
Prodigy or something?
That was me every day, every Wednesday. I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave school early, watch The Prodigy. I just didn't go to school an awful lot of the time. Come here. If you had a good reason for ever missing school, when, like, for something big like a gig, can you let us know? 0896 111 111. I want good mitching school stories.
And look at her now, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. Whatever happened?
I know, it was
Okay,
so
right,
good.
now it's time to take out your phone, right? We want you to take out your phone, open up the camera, then scan this QR code. It's here. There you go. So hold the camera up to that and take part in our survey and let us know if you're going to be joining a gym this January, yes or no, because, of course, we're talking New Year's resolutions yesterday. There is a news story about Equinox, which is a kind of a fancy gym, and they've said that they won't accept any new members.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a bit of a gimmick. Now, Equinox, for people who aren't familiar, it's kind of one of these gyms that gets pilloried on American TV shows for, like, having the guy on the bike and, like, come on, guys, get out, move your ass. And
Miranda went to an Equinox in Sex and the City.
Yeah, you know, so they've done this thing where it's like, we don't want you if you're just going to come here for January, because most people do who sign up in January, most of them do have, they've fallen off by March.
So we don't want your money for taking up the gym and
God,
taking up spaces
no, we
for the
can't
rest
be
of the year,
dealing with you guys. We only want the, what's the equivalent of a gym? Oh, it's Gym Bro, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just really interesting because
so
they make
already on 83, 84% saying people are not going to be joining the gym. There you go.
But we were talking to Enda yesterday, a psychologist, who was like, if you do want to do something, just don't do it in January.
Yes.
Just a bad
Why
idea
not?
to do it in January.
Well, you could do it any time you
because
want.
80% of people fail in January. That's why he said do it in February.
80% of people fail in general. If you started in April, 80% of people are going to fail. So
They
why
might.
not? What's
No,
the
it's
difference
harder
between
in
January?
January.
It's harder in January.
Be
It's
good to
miserable.
yourself in January. Don't be doing any of the dry stuff at the
Why not?
January.
Why not?
Be good to yourself.
But
Practice
you're good to
self-care.
yourself all December.
Yeah.
Laying up, drinking wine and enjoying Christmas turkey.
Yeah,
Sure,
listen.
keep being good to yourselves. Why
it
not?
going.
Just keep lying on the sofa and taking it easy all the time. Or get up and get out and get active. It's great.
Our new
January,
Minister
new
for
year,
Sport,
new you.
Tommy Bowe, coming to a school near you. Oh, no, it's going great. Aidan
Anyway.
Finnegan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Eddie. You're going to get in trouble. Don't shoot me. But I'm just, why
You
not?
haven't said anything wrong. Why
There
would
you
you
go.
think he hasn't said anything wrong? Welcome back. Now, we've all experienced a case of the Sunday scaries. The Glenroe theme tune comes on and you're like, oh my God, I gotta go back to school. And returning to work can be especially hard this time of year.
Yeah, join us to chat about job satisfaction in the workplace as career psychologist Sinead Brady. Good morning to you, Sinead. Great to have you with us. Career psychologists, what is that? Is that the
Great
careers
question.
advisors in school? Bit different?
Very different, very different. So I work exclusively with adults and within organisations to support people to manage 21st century work careers. So we're not really ever taught the skills of managing a career, like what it is to feel successful in career, in your life, professionally and personally. We're never really taught to shut down from work. And if you think about going to school, you go to school, you spend your day in school, and then you come home and you do homework. So you're never really taught the skills to shut down, to switch off, and to find this sense of ease between work and life. So that's essentially what I do. I joke and I say I'm a bit like the Chandler Bing of the family. Nobody really knows what I do, but I work within organisations and I work with individuals to support them navigate the 21st century workplace, because it's a different place than we've ever been in before in terms of work and career.
Okay, so that's quite interesting, because I always remember watching an episode of Downton Abbey, I think, and Maggie Smith said something like, what's a weekend? Because she didn't know what it was, because some of the staff were taking a weekend off. So obviously things have changed an awful lot. But are we expecting too much these days, that regardless of our job, we all have to be fulfilled and excited? Like, it's called work for a reason.
Yeah, and I suppose we've changed now from being in a workplace where it was 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and where you went to work and bar, something catastrophic happened after work, nobody contacted you. You worked for a wage. And when you got that money then, that facilitated life outside of work. But now, because the boundaries between work and life have permeate one another. They've crashed, they've collapsed, particularly since COVID. And we have this feeling that we would like to be more engaged and more meaning. So we've moved from work being a source of necessity for a wage to work and our careers been something that we need for meaning, or we want for meaning. And there is nothing wrong with that, because we don't have the scarcity of resources that we had at one time in our lives. Yes, we're going through, like, things are more difficult at the moment, but we have this space, we occupy this space now where we want meaning from her. And I think that's fine. Yeah.
Well, because it is a cost of living crisis, and
Yes,
things
absolutely.
are going so much more expensive. We're seeing mortgages now shooting through the roof, so people are going to have to work harder or are going to be worried about money. But when you mentioned there about in school, you're in school all day, then you go home and you do your homework, you don't really have time to switch off. Do you think then when people go into the adult world, like, there's definitely a mental health problem out there at the minute, and we're seeing a lot of people are struggling.
100%. So yeah, we're never taught the skill of switching off, and we don't often, like, the core focus of education is to find your space in the world of work. You know, obviously it's to education, to grow minds and so on, but if we're not teaching those skills at a very young age, it's very hard to learn them when you're in a workplace where it is a priority to always be on, you know, side hustle. And even on social media, we're looking at always being on, having a side hustle. If you don't like your work outside of work so that you can get another way of making a living.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, and we have a mental health crisis. We have a mental health crisis amongst our young people. We have a mental health crisis amongst our adults. So we are in this really kind of precarious position where we have to reevaluate our relationship with work and with our careers. And that's really important. I mean, the core focus of life is to have relationships. We need relationships, and those relationships help us to manage the things we're talking about, the cost of living crisis, the support circles that we have in
And particularly when people are working at home now, they're going to lose
Absolutely.
those relationships that they would have had with work colleagues.
In some instances, yes. But I think also it can help with other relationships. So you might have more time to go for a walk, or you might have more time to go down to your local shop or your coffee shop. So there's pros and cons to that as well. But I think really the focus is, you know, are you able to kind of get enjoyment from life and your career? And an 80-20 balance is really good. And I don't mean work-life balance, because that's not necessarily all that helpful. But if you're enjoying your work 80% of the time, and if you have the energy outside of work to manage the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations, if you can take your holidays, you know, if you feel a sense that you can disconnect from your work, but also when you're in work, you feel that the function of what you're doing really engages you, you enjoy it, you feel a sense of, you know, I really enjoy this, I like this. And then you can kind of begin to think, well, you know, is it the function of what I do that I really enjoy? Is it where I do it that I really enjoy? So it doesn't have to be, you know, complete enjoyment all of the time, because, as Miriam, as you said, it is work and there's a function for that.
Yeah, it's just, I always remember my dad kind of saying, what's it all for? Because when he clocked off, he was like, I'm off. I'm going to see my friends. I'm going to play golf. I'm going to play bridge. They had an unbelievable social life.
Yeah.
And he's like, none of you seem to have a proper social life. Like during the week, you don't go out, or it's all minding kids or whatever. So it does feel like the modern world has completely changed how we view everything. So if there's someone at home now and they're like, I need to change, I need to do something. What are things that you think that we should, going forward, leave behind so people can get a sense of satisfaction in their life and their work?
So I think it's just kind of coming back to the segment you just did around the gym and will you join the gym and whatever else. There are these basic pillars to life that every human being needs. So I call them your non-negotiables. Your physical non-negotiables are the bottom part of that. Are you sleeping? Are you eating? Are you moving? And are you spending time with people who make you smile? And your job, your work, your career shouldn't impact that. In fact, it should facilitate that. Okay. So it should be possible to have the hobbies. It should be possible to spend time with people who make you smile and to have that sense of time for yourself. So this is really reevaluating and rethinking where and what takes priority in life. We should be able to sleep well. We should be able to, and I'm not talking about foraging for your
what about
food.
Employees or employers?
Yeah.
Employers, though, do they have to change the way they're working with their employees? Yeah.
Absolutely. This is a full reevaluation of how we work. We live not to work. We work so that we can live. And it does take a huge readjustment in what we're thinking and how we're thinking, because the mental health crisis is there. And we really have to reevaluate. We work because we get a sense of enjoyment or a sense of meaning or a sense of engagement. And that might be your salary, or it might be the value that you place on your job. But the reality is we have to have these basics first.
Because you, as you mentioned there, the physical, exercise, sleeping, time with who you make. Then you've got personal, professional.
Yes.
They're the other things that people have to have.
Absolutely.
Personal life and then professional.
Correct.
What you want to be doing.
Yeah, and they're all, the order of them is non-negotiable. Your physical non-negotiables have to come first. Then your personal non-negotiable. So that's, you know, what type of work pattern works for me. Do I want to commute to work? Am I okay working a 3-day week? Do I want to work a 4-day week? Do I want to work across 7 days? So you're beginning to look at the pattern that works for you. You're beginning to think, well, how much money do I need? Because finances are important. There's nothing more stressful than not being able to meet the mortgage or crash or healthcare or whatever it is. So that comes second. And then finally is your professional non-negotiables. What skills do you want to build? What area do you want to be in? What industry do you want to be in? And that comes at the top, but only once the other two parts are in place.
Very interesting. Sinead, listen, you are going to hang around with us as well. There's a lot of questions, I think, coming in already for you around people wanting to change careers. If you do have a question about wanting to change your career, anything that Sinead's just talked about, 0896 111 111, do get in touch, and we're going to be chatting to you around 8:30 or so.
Teach me how to pick up a hobby. That'll be good. Lots more still to come on Ireland Day, and we'll talk to you shortly. Welcome back. Now, our Lord of the Dance is set to shake those hips. They don't lie with some samba.
Well, let's see if the hips don't lie, Derek. Oh, here you go. Look at him.
Lads,
Take it away.
Never say we do not make an effort here in Ireland. Take a look at the shoes. Look at the effort. We've got the ruffles. We've got the shoes. Oh, look, what a morning we're having here. Lots of fitness, fun. Angelica is with us now. Angelica, talk us about dance first. Dance is a great way to get fit, isn't it?
It is a great way to get fit. It's fun and it brings your heart rate up. So it keeps you active all the time. It brings all the energy up. It's the best thing to do if you want to start fit in January. You're going to lose everything.
Yeah.
You lose your hip as well.
You lose everything. Now, also, it is a great way to meet people, isn't it?
Yes, amazing way to meet people. You can go to any party, and if you don't know anybody, you can just make a lot of friends just with dancing.
Just with dancing. And we have a lot of people here this morning. We have countries represented. We have Italy, we have
Brazil, we have India, and I'm from Venezuela.
Venezuela. Now, talk us through then samba itself.
Samba is a dance original from Brazil. And it's known all over the world because of the carnival.
Yes, the carnival, and that's kicking off pretty soon.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So it's very popular. It is very active. Your body is very active, so you're moving all the time, and it's a great dance to start being fit. Yes.
Okay, so, right, we had park workout yesterday. Today we're going to be dancing. So take us through some of the samba steps. Some simple samba steps for the viewers at home.
Simple.
Okay,
so
nice and
we're
easy.
just going to start on the right, walking forward, and I go forward, a step on the spot, back, a step, forward, a step, back,
and
step, and loose the hip. Yes, now if you feel comfortable, want to do more complicated, you're just going to cross, step, cross, step, cross, step. Oh, look at you.
And shaking the hips all the time,
right? And you take everything,
Okay, and move the arms.
Yes, and move the arm, yes. Don't it's not get like this. Very stiff, just loose.
Okay, nice and loose.
Nice.
Okay. Step number 2.
Step number 2 is a little bit easier. You step on the side. A step, tap. Step, tap. Step, tap. Step, tap. Step and loose those hips.
Yeah,
loose those hips.
Here we go.
Yeah, very
muy
bien.
Nice one as well.
Yes. And now the number 3 is the most popular step for samba.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. So step on the side and this. Quick step, quick step, quick.
Tommy, I'm wearing it. They should be.
Yeah, you should be
trying to find
doing
out what Saturday studios.
Yes.
So this is a quick step.
Quick step. Yes.
How are you getting on, lads? Okay, this is really fast. Like, I'm finding my heart rate now going up a lot here.
Just make sure you take a lick of your arms.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
So now we're going to combine the 3 moves together.
Yes.
So the one we learned at the top, the 3 moves together. So off we go.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
7, 8. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3.
Are you with us, guys?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We cross and end. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Now we go on the side.
I'm in the background. Those ones are way cooler.
There we go.
Take it easy.
wanna
Now,
do
The
this
guys behind us as well.
are you ready for the
Yes.
samba?
Okay, the big step, guys.
Here we go. Eight. Side, 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 side. Lose the hips.
Yes,
Hey.
lose the hips.
Ah,
Lose
there
the
we
hips.
go.
Oh my God, I'm telling you, what a workout. Absolutely highly recommended. Where can we find you online?
Yes, we are infinityballetstudio.com and we have classes in Raymond, Portobello and Navan.
Okay, let's dance. I hope we've enjoyed that. Back to you in the studio. Here we go, guys.
Very good, Derek. Loved it.
If there was
Hey,
ever...
that's more like it. Look at that.
Oh, look at him go! Now, can I just say, there was all those rumours of them thinking about getting rid of Dancing with the Stars. No, get Derek on it. Can't go away until... Oh, look at him go! That's what I want to look at.
All right. Keep that for after the watershed, please, Derek. Good man. Fair play. That was a bit of fun.
Also, he is so fit. He was tired.
Oh, yeah. He was
Like,
blowing,
he was
wasn't
properly quite tired there, so he's doing an awful lot. Fair play to him.
Good stuff. We always get a good old laugh off Derek. Now, still to come this morning, lip sync master Kaylee Trapp is going to be joining us.
Plus, Edward Hayden is in the kitchen and career psychologist Sinead Byrne is back to answer your work-related questions if you want to send any of them in. Come on, free psychologist, 0896 111 111. We'll see you after the break. It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline, state facing 14,000 refugee bed shortfall. More than 14,000 beds, as it mentions in the headline, for refugees are going to be shortfall before the end of March, with a government briefing document starkly warning that the current accommodation system is unsustainable.
Health experts, we must return to masks. That's the front page of the Daily Mail. Health experts want the immediate return of mandatory mask wearing as our hospitals buckle under the strain of respiratory viruses.
The Star leads with "She was our warrior." Bruna Fonseca's family have opened up about the last chat they had with her just hours before her death on New Year's Day.
Health Minister is the top story on the Daily Mail. The Mirror, Health Minister Stephen Donnelly warned the trolley crisis will worsen after a record 931 patients were without beds yesterday.
The Examiner goes with that same story. Overcrowding at hospitals will get worse. Hospital porters roll aside 5 or 6 trolleys holding patients and their belongings to reach someone who needs to be treated or moved.
And finally, the Irish Independent, the Sun and the Herald also lead with the same story. Crisis in our hospitals will kill people. Top doctors fear patients will die as a result of the hospital overcrowding catastrophe. Pretty brutal reading, really, isn't it? Absolutely shocking. We were talking, well, you were talking about mitching.
Mitching.
Trying to get a few stories about people mitching. So
Do you call it mitching in Monaghan?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just
Mitching
mitching off
school.
school.
Yeah.
John said, when I got my driver's licence in 6th year, I used a load of us, all the lads, got into the car and had them lie across the back seat, forged a note to excuse them from PE so they could freely drive past the teachers. Little did they know there were 4 or 5 in the back.
Oh, there you go. This is because a student in 6th year has written to the Education Minister, Norma Foley, asking for her not to put an exam, a Leaving Cert exam, before the 10th of June when the Harry Styles concert is taking place for the people of Ireland. So we were asking about your mitching stories. Emma, when I was in 4th year, Westlife were coming to HMV and Grafton Street in Dublin for a signing. As a group of us were walking out the school gate, our deputy principal began screaming at us out the window. She rang all of our
signature. No.
I like Shane the best. She rang all of our mums who knew what we were doing, and they said they would talk to us about the seriousness of mitching. A picture of us in our uniform ended up in the Sun.
Did it?
Well done, guys.
They were definitely caught mitching.
That's some great work.
There was a fear of them ringing your parents. I love this one, right? Neve has sent in a message. Never mind the exams. My wedding is the same day as the Harry Styles concert and his fans have completely booked out the venue. None of the guests can book a room. So if Norma Foley can move the date of the concert, I will personally invite her to my wedding. So there you go, Norma. Whatever about trying to move the Leaving Cert. Move the concert.
No, you never even think about that.
So good, I love
I'm
it.
always last minute doing that. We were also asking you earlier on if you're going to join a gym in January, because a gym in the UK has decided to not let new members
Equinox,
join
yes.
in January.
Well, it's evening out a little bit, so will you be joining a gym this January? 84% have said no. Go get your phone app out, hold holding over that little QR code in the corner.
It's evening out. One is 84% and one
Well,
is 16%.
90. It was 90, was it not? Earlier, no.
Oh, so that's 6%. Still think it's
Come
fairly
on, the gym
overwhelming.
goers.
It's evening out, lads.
I love this.
Don't worry about it. If you got 16% in an exam, you're almost an A. Don't worry about
Sam
it.
said, I'm a regular gym goer and it wrecks my head when new members join and overcrowd the gyms in January, only to disappear for the rest of the year. There should be fines if people don't maintain their membership after the first month. This would prevent people signing up unnecessarily. There you go, Sam.
Well, do you know what? We're going to have a teacher coming up next who's going to do percentages with us. Teach us about percentages in a few minutes.
Look, we're gone 83 now. Oh, no, back to 84. Anyway, right, from Tommy Tiernan to Roy Keane and Joanne McNally, no celebrity is safe from her unique impersonations.
You'd watch that all day, wouldn't you?
I would. I love that, the sliding scale. After a break, we're going to meet the very funny Kaylee Trapp. Don't go away. Great to have you back. Now, our next guest is a primary school teacher turned TikTok star who has perfected the art of lip syncing.
I just did it there. Before we chat to Kaylee Trapp, let's take a look at her in action.
Well, you think you'll be just fine without me, but you're mine! You think you can kick me out of the band, and then, Zach, you come in with a face melter. Okay?
You're coming out for the beer, and you're going, no, I'm trying to be good. And they go, just come for one. What is the point of going for one?
One of my young fellas he was out with the COVID, and he had to do a home economics bit of homework to catch up. Right. Do you know what I mean? And he says, yeah, Dad, I had to do all this thing about different food types. Yeah. You know, about carbohydrates and proteins.
If you see me out wearing doobies, shoot me, okay? It's gone too far.
Sorry. Doobies.
Yeah, the doobs.
Doobarries.
Doobies. Are they not called doobies? No.
Sorry,
we're
talking about myself.
Good morning, Kaylee Trapp. How are you?
I'm well.
It's honestly, if anyone is scrolling, they have seen you over the past few months because what you do, it's so entertaining. Like, it's so entertaining. Why did you start doing it?
For the crack. It was the COVID thing. Like, I didn't have anything else to do, and I was like, I think I'd give this a go, because the lip syncing took off on TikTok about 4 years ago. It was a big thing. I never really had a niche at the time. I just did a bit of anyone I could find, maybe some American ones, English ones. But as time went on, I started to realise what the people wanted. Did a lot of Pat Short at the beginning, and then I was like, I actually think I could do maybe a few celebrity ones and actually try and pull them off. So yeah, it was just for a bit of crack at the start, and now I don't even know.
How do you do it? What sort of preparation goes into it?
It's not what people think. People think that I sit and study, especially with the Joanne McNally's. I sit and study her and watch her eyes, watch her face, but it's not like that at all. It's whatever comes out, and I don't sit there learning big. I don't write it out. A lot of people ask me if I write it out. Never. I tried writing one out. I did the two Johnnies a couple of months ago. It was a really fast-paced clip, and I tried writing it out, and it took me longer than ever. So
how the hell do you do it?
I don't know.
It just goes into you. Just hear it, and it stays in your brain.
Yeah, and then you do. In the first few, it's more about the words, and then after a while, it's like the eyebrow for Tommy Tiernan, and then the eyes for Joanne, and the tonsils for Vogue. But that just comes in naturally. I never plan it.
Tonsils for Vogue.
I know.
So do you watch their clips over and over and over and over again?
I never watch I obviously watch it to pick it.
Yeah.
But then when I'm actually making the video, I can't see the original video at all.
Okay.
So I'd watch it a couple of times just to maybe even to see the gestures sometimes with their hands or whatever. But
because we saw you with Louis Walsh earlier on, and your face looks completely different when you're Louis. Like your whole face moves to the side.
Yeah, to the side. And I was like,
mad.
Does Louis Walsh even do that? I don't even know.
It was like looking at him.
Yeah.
So he loved your video.
I know.
And
someone got in contact with Simon Cowell and Cheryl.
Yeah, because with Louis, I was actually afraid of it being not offensive, but I was like, I hope if he ever did see it, that it would go down well, and it did, because I remember one day my phone just started pinging, ping, 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 and then I saw the Irish Independent had it up, and he quoted me, and I was delighted to get good feedback, because I always want to be careful that I don't offend anybody, you know. But generally, it's positive. So
face looks completely different. I just think it's absolutely amazing.
I love the Roy Keane one. I think, and he's over the World Cup. I was just infatuated.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good. I think we actually have a little clip of it. Let's take a look at the Roy Keane clip.
We go to games every week, and we watch some bad games.
But we're not criticising him for that. I'm not criticising him for that. I'm criticising him for...
Let me finish.
Sorry, Ron.
Let me finish. We watch players every week. Players who finish the 32, 33, they take a big pay packet to go off to the States or China, wherever they go, or they retire because they can. This guy wants to keep on doing it. That has to be admired. I'm not giving him a thumbs up for his behaviour in the last week. Far from it.
See, like it's the angry stare.
But it's
sorry, Roy.
Yeah, I was actually talking to my friend Stephen Kelly about this last week. He's like, "How do you do, Roy?" And I was like, "Less is more with Roy. You literally just."
I could see the teacher face coming out.
Yeah, that's a good practice there. You see,
is that what it is?
It's like when Roy gives you a look, you're just like in that clip there, he was interrupted and he just give him a look. Now I don't even know if Roy does that in real life, but people always say Roy has the look in mine, and it's very much a dead face and just.
Because you are a primary school teacher, senior infants.
Yes.
So do any of the older I doubt if many of the senior infants know what's going on.
No, they
but
don't.
Any of the other kids?
Yeah, I'm like Miss Popular in school because I'm like the cool teacher. Cool. It's like, oh, Miss Chop's on TikTok, and I never really acknowledge it, but I'm like, yeah. And so I don't. Yeah, senior infants. The parents sometimes. I had parent-teacher meetings a few months ago, and they were saying that I do a lot of children's ones as well. I don't know if you've seen any of those clips where I would take on like little kids, begging to go to the. There's a wee girl begging to go to the pub or asking for sweets, and the parents told me that they'd show the senior infants those ones, but they admire it. And when I do drama, I do a lot of drama in the classroom teaching. They just love it because they see that I obviously have a background in it as well. So
yeah, speech and drama teacher as well. So being able to bring that kind of inspiring kids.
Exactly.
But like it must be in the corridors. Miss teacher, do that, do that.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
is it?
It is. Oh, yeah. And like they'd be like, oh, my daddy was talking about Roy Keane. And actually one time I was like, I was asking for their weekend news on a Monday and the hand shot up. This last year I had a first class and I was like, yes. And they were like, my daddy was watching you all weekend doing the football impressions. And I was like, okay.
That comes off a bit.
That's okay, cool. But no, yeah, the kids, the older kids especially would know about them, and the parents as well. They're just so supportive.
The poor
it's great.
other teachers. Yeah, like they haven't a hope.
I'm Miss Cool.
You're cool.
Yeah,
what's the principle like? Because listen, teachers around schools and everything else at exams, obviously you're only senior infants, but how is things for teachers at the minute in schools and with everything that's gone on for the last while?
Yeah, it's kind of gradually getting back to normal, especially with COVID restrictions. We're easing it in, and it was really nice before Christmas there to finally get to have a proper Christmas. I actually would have a background in IT as well, so I was making a lot of the Christmas movies there and bringing it back, and I actually did a lip sync video with my senior infants class before on Frozen. It was so cute, very, very cute. But generally, yeah, back to normal as it can be. Obviously before Christmas the numbers are rising again, so you have to be careful, but even with what I do, they're so supportive. My principal's always talking about them and they love it, and they're rooting for me with that as well, so it's great. I feel like I'm quite a modern teacher, and this is like showing that you can be a professional a teacher, but you can also have a hobby or a side gig as well.
Because it is really interesting watching some of the American teachers who have like 2.7 million followers, and they keep going with their jobs. I'm sure there's the worry of being like, oh God, we don't want to lose a good teacher.
I know, yeah, definitely. Like my principal, I actually went to her about something a couple of months ago, and I was like, can I speak to you, Andrea? And she goes, are you taking a career break? And I was like, no, it's about the toilets, whatever it was. So, but you know what? They did root for me no matter what, and they've always said that whatever way I go, whatever direction, that they'll be supporting me. So it's really nice like that.
Oh, it's fantastic. Good on you. Well, and as you say, you're a kind of a modern teacher, and we're seeing a lot of that, and teachers have to keep up with the times, and kids are all on TikTok and Instagram, which is really good. Now,
it takes a lot of guts to be a teacher and to put yourself out there like that.
It does sometimes vary. Like I get sent a lot of. I ask for recommendations on what clips people want. I mean, sometimes they're just a bit too either raunchy or a bit too much bad language, maybe, and I wouldn't do those ones as such. I try and keep it as PG as I can. Now, there's the occasional one where it might go across the borders, but generally I have to be very careful.
Yeah.
And I'd always ask my daddy. I was like, "What's this one like? What's this one like? Can I do this? Can I do that?" And he gives me the
You
go
can always
ahead.
trust Dad.
You have to.
Yeah.
Well, now that his garden has been picked up in some of the
Yeah,
videos, he had to do up a bit of the garden because people were like, "Oh, what's going on there?" We have to bring it back because I remember it was when Joanne shared it. It kind of went insane. So let's take another look at Joanne and Vogue.
I find you so much funnier when I properly listen to you.
Wait, what are you usually doing?
Well, because sometimes, like the other day, I was listening back to the pod and I'm like, I didn't hear that joke.
Do you know the filter on Insta with the mouth? Just like the mouth. Just like comes out when you open the mouth, just like engulfs the camera. That's what I'm looking at twice a week.
It's class. The laugh, honestly, I think the laugh is
I
brilliant.
think it's my favourite thing to do. I love a fake laugh. But generally, I would be sitting going, ha ha ha. Like I do laugh along with it sometimes just to make it look more real. But...
Now, I gather you've also done a lip sync
This is cringe.
of an Ireland AM lip sync. Have you done a Warren's laugh? Let's take a look and we'll see how long we're going to talk after this. Ireland AM lip sync. Here we go.
Sorry, Kaylee.
And you're very welcome back. Now, author Seamus O'Reilly was just 5 years old when he and his 10 siblings...
10 siblings?
...sadly lost their mum.
I didn't know what it was going to be.
I didn't know that was going to be.
I don't know if you're ever going to live that down. And apologies for the hairline. You should have seen me. I literally was like, it's like this. This wig isn't doing him any justice. But
Very good.
I was sitting there for...
You're getting one back now.
Is that a Monaghan thing?
We'll just leave it that.
We
Yeah,
won't
it's a
get into
Monaghan
that.
thing.
Oh my God. For a second there, I was like, have I been fired? And then when I realised what it was...
I came in this morning, they said, now they've done a clip for you as well. Do you want to see it? And said, no, keep it for the show.
I'm glad.
Well done, Kelly. Kelly Trapp, listen, it's an absolute pleasure. That was so funny. Fair play to you. And continued success with the school and, of course, with all the great work you're doing in the videos as well.
They're such a joy. You can find them on Instagram, on TikTok. It's so nice to meet you. Looking forward to the makeup tutorial because I love Kaylee's makeup so much. It's amazing. I could watch her all day. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much.
What's my favourite time in the morning? Fancy a hug and a cup? Well... we've got the right man to offer it.
Will you read that? I'm trying to do a lip sync.
Oh, sorry.
In an homage to Kaylee. It's like, read what you're meant to say.
I never read that thing. It only gets me in trouble. Hence the clip that got me in trouble. Edward Hayden, good morning.
Good morning to you both. How are we?
It's so lovely to have you here because you're doing something that is just perfect.
I'm doing something that's perfect. And of course, it's perfect for this time of the year because people are kind of gravitating back towards not necessarily healthier, but healthier and, again, those kind of warming dishes because it's cool and it's hearty. And this dish is the perfect cool, hearty
outside
dish.
it's cold and it's wet.
Absolutely, and that's for sure and certain. Can I just show you this little tip? And I've told this to people before. I've just left all of these ready. I've prepared these late last night. But what I do with my veg when I do them, and people might want to prepare their veg a couple of days in advance, rather than leave it soaking in water, what I have done is I've just put some damp tissue on the top of them all. And that just keeps them nice and fresh. And also things that, like the onions, the leeks, the celery, that have a big odour, you know, again, that just will keep those preserved in the fridge.
Coming in, I was going to say, here, do you want to take that off, Edward? We're about to come on.
You thought I made a little rookie error.
But doesn't it, like, especially for things like lettuce, it elongates the life so much.
Again, it certainly does. Take them out of the packaging. Yeah. As I said, when I kind of tend to take out my chopping boards to be doing a few of them, I might do them for 2 days in advance or maybe 3 and just keep them covered down. The efficiency of time.
Have you any way of keeping the likes of parsley and basil? Because I buy those and they go out a day.
The very same way. What you're going to do is with this, now I just have small little bits so I can just show you with a small little bit. I have the little bit of coriander here. You know, just take, now mine is growing in the pot, but if you buy the one in the bag, just put it in and just wrap it up like that and push it in the door of the fridge.
As
obviously
opposed to keeping it in the packet, right?
As opposed to keeping it in the packet. Again, the tissue is just great to keep it fresh.
Can we get the TikTok Edward hacks started right now?
We don't even need the soup, Edward.
Massive.
You would be massive on
Now, in here I'm going to make our soup. So again, I've just got the basic soup vegetables. my basic soup vegetables are carrots, leeks, onions and celery, and I'm just going to put a bit of sweet potato in there as well. Now, sweet potato, I always think is great in terms of its capacity to render down, because it has a lovely sweet taste, but it doesn't have that same fibrous structure that a potato will have. So the soup will be smoother for you there as well. Now, also, if I can just show you my aromatics. So what I've got here is I have some garlic, I have some chilli, and I have some ginger. Now, ginger is gorgeous in a soup. It's particularly gorgeous at this time of the year because it gives that lovely warming undertone. So I'm going to pop those in. You'll see I didn't start with those. A lot of times people start with those, but because they're so small and delicate in itself, you know, they can tend to just burn a little bit. So give them a little few minutes with the rest of the veg and just start that there. Now, I'm going to turn up my heat there. What's really important is that you allow the vegetables to cook. Sometimes I'd put them into a roasting tray, drizzle them with a little bit of oil and roast them in the oven, or sometimes I would pan roast them. To me, that's kind of one of, you know, the things that differentiate soup, in my opinion anyway, is to kind of give the veg a little few minutes to roast off, OK? Roast them off a little bit first, either in a tray or in the pan, and that just pulls out all of the flavour. Now, in terms of the recipe that we have online for this is as such, and it will yield the soup that I've got. But what I would say to you, you know, when you're at home, you'll be all making this now this evening, Warren. You know, vary it around to suit yourself. People might have a handful of red lentils, throw those in. Again, you might like to add a gorgeous warming undertone of some of that lovely Spanish sausage, chorizo. Put that in, put some pancetta in there as well. You know, if you have a bit of turnip, if you have a bit of courgette, you know, make it your own, you know. I always think there's a bit of Shirley Valentine in us all. We all kind of do, you know, this on a Monday, that on a Tuesday.
Though?
No,
Does not
and
burn?
again,
That's what
there's
I'd be
a
worried.
confidence in what I'm doing.
Do you not need to put water in or anything?
No. I'll give it a little shake every so often. You're roasting it. We have the oil in there at the start. So essentially, it's as if you're frying it or as if you're stir-frying it off really, really nicely. Now, again, what I'm going to then do is I'm going to put some salt and pepper in there as well. And then I'm going to put in my liquids. Now, I've got some stock, or what you might decide to do is you might decide to put a little bit of tomatoes, chopped tomatoes. You'll wonder why am I doing that on the worktop.
I am.
Again,
Expert.
if I was to hold this over my saucepan, the steam would go up into it and I'd end up with soggy salt and pepper, which who wants soggy salt and pepper?
No one wants soggy salt.
I'm
terrible.
So now you've just got some breadcrumbs that were on the board there and said, but add for the flavour.
Oh, no, fully sanitised. Fully sanitised. Now, as I said, you might decide to throw in a tin of tomatoes in there. On a kind of a more indulgent day, you might put in some cream, or even a can of coconut milk is gorgeous in there, a stick of lemongrass. Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my stock in there. So what I've said to you is to add in about 2/3 of the stock, the allocated stock in there now. Bring that to the boil. Let it boil up for about, 20 minutes, no more than about 20 minutes. Let that boil up and then blitz it down. I'm using my immersion stick blender to blend that down. And then you're using the additional stock to decide on your consistency. Sometimes people like a thicker soup, sometimes people like a thinner soup. So decide what you'd like yourself and then pop it in to the consistency you want. I've got some fresh coriander and I'm just going to use my immersion stick blender to give that a little blend down there as well. Just to barely blend in a bit of coriander. Now, coriander is that gorgeous herb, you know. It has that lovely flavour in terms of, it's that kind of almost like a citrusy element. Yeah. Now, it's the Marmite of herbs, isn't it? You either like it or you don't like it. So I've made some lovely bread there, so you can have some bread. And then what I've got for you here today, because as you all know, I'm frightfully posh. I've got the lovely soup tureens. So again, this will just be lovely. And again, this time of the year, you know, you might just be happy to have some soup and some bread and maybe put some Parma ham or put some poached salmon or put some sliced roast chicken.
Did you get these for Christmas? Is this what's happened?
No, I didn't. Do you know, even I never do that. Even today, I had pulled out something that I was going to wear that I had got for Christmas. And then I said, no, I won't do that because, you know, people think, oh, God, he's wearing his Christmas clothes. So that's to come.
It's very hot.
No,
but
you can never use the things that you've just got.
Edward Hayden, that is a hug and a cup.
Exactly
as
it
you
is.
described
From
it.
me to ye.
It's a hot hug and a cup, mind you.
There you have it.
Roasted
Thank
hot,
you
but this
so
is
much,
very
Edward.
welcome.
Love it.
Delicious.
That's gorgeous, right?
Edward Hacks, that's what we're going to do soon.
Time for a break now, yeah. After the break, our career expert is going to be answering your questions. Stay with us, and I'm going to tuck into this.
Talk to you shortly. Welcome back. You've been sending in your questions for career psychologist Sinead Brady this morning.
So let's get straight into it, Sinead.
Brilliant, yes.
There's a couple of them quite similar here. David, I'm feeling completely demotivated and stuck in a rut returning to work this year. What areas should I look to begin making improvements? That follows on John's as well.
Yeah, so they're great questions. So a lot of people feel under or lacking motivation at this time of the year. The first thing I'd say is start to write. And there's a really important function that writing has that we didn't know about for many, many years. But you activate both hemispheres of the brain by the pressure points in your index finger and your thumb. So grab a notebook and a pen that you like to write with and begin to record.
Manifestation journal.
Star with me on the manifestation.
Well, this is not quite manifestation.
Okay,
thank you.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to very clearly focus on your momentous moments over the course of the past year. So your momentous moments are the achievements that you have had in your work over the past year or whatever comes to mind. So you literally take your pen in hand and begin to write in your journal just freely. Notebook, piece of paper, because it begins to help you. It triggers the brain to cognitively process what you have done. So if you're suffering from under motivation, lack of motivation, been stuck in a career rut, or not sure what your next step is, beginning to write and focus on your momentous moments will help you to understand what it is you enjoy about your job, what you don't like about it, what may be the source of the lack of motivation, or what may be that has you feeling that you're in a career rut. So momentous moments are the very specific things that you are, that you think about and you say, well, I really did well doing that.
Okay.
That was a particular moment that stands out for me. And you begin then just to write it and record it. Keep the journal specifically for I always say, get one that makes you smile when you look at it and a pen that you like to write with. And then really deep dive into those momentous moments and go, okay, so my specific role in that project was.
Okay.
I really contributed by. So we're very good at saying we as a team or we as a group did this. And yes, that's absolutely true. But where's the I in that? You did something. You made some type of unique contribution. And then every Thursday, I call it Tactical Thursday. Never think of your Thursday morning cup of tea or coffee again without saying, I'm going to take out my journal and I'm going to record what I did in this past week that feels like a success to me.
If you don't have anything, if you're bad, because John's here saying that he wants to follow his passion and make a complete change. So if you don't have many things, then you're kind of thinking to yourself, you know what, I need to do something different here.
Possibly, yeah, absolutely. Okay. And then you're beginning to craft an exit strategy for yourself. So if you're beginning to think, if you've been in a job for 20 years and you're going, okay, I could do this with my eyes shut, I want something different, craft an exit strategy. And that will normally take between 6 and 18 months, maybe to 2 years to play out, depending on the type of transition that you want to go through. If you want a complete career change, you might need to reskill, upskill, retrain in some way. So if that's the case, that may take a little longer. Talk to your workplace, see what they might be able to help you to do. Be risk-free in the beginning. So see if you can reduce your working hours so that you can, try and find a little bit of experience in the particular area if you have no experience of it. Talk to people that are already working in that area. Just begin to gradually kind of...
Don't just quit the job.
Don't, please, no P45.
So,
no
yeah,
P45s,
18 months to 2 years. We've got a lot of messages in maternity leave. We're going to take Yvonne's one here. I'm almost finished my maternity leave, dreading the return to work. I feel like my life has changed so much. I can't imagine returning to my old ways of working. How should I approach this?
Okay, so first off, we have so much new emerging research. So I'm a research psychologist, and we know that when you are returning to work after maternity leave, you exist in this space called liminality. And liminality is a feeling of transitioning. So you're in this space whereby what you did before, so you could take a meeting at 5 o'clock, you could stay late, you could do an early morning drop off, like you could start early, and you didn't really have to think about it beforehand. And these things kind of begin to become very front of mind when you're returning from maternity leave. And you exist in this, like, this is what I was before. I've left the paid workplace, and I'm going back into the paid workplace. How do I manage this? First off, if you are in a relationship, you're not alone. This is a renegotiating and a recontracting of the space that is home, that is your life, that is your partnership. So it's about sitting down and having that conversation before you go back. You are not on your own doing this. It's also about having adult conversations in the workplace. So, you know, I'm transitioning back. Is it possible to transition back on a slow pace? So could I come back for 2 days per week the first week, 3 days per week the second week, and build up the return? Because that rush to the crash, and like, I have 4 kids, I know exactly how it feels, and it never gets easy. It becomes a little easier, but it's recontracting and renegotiating the relationships.
What if you don't feel you're up to scratch? Like somebody said, they're furloughed and they've come back and they just don't feel they're at it like they were.
Yeah, so you're going to feel a little sense of that when you've been out of the paid workplace, you know, no matter what, whether it's for maternity leave, sick leave, parental leave, caring leave. We have these non-linear careers that we talked about in the first segment. No career just operates steady and straightforward all of the time. So if you've been furloughed, if you have, and you're returning to the paid workplace, again, your momentous moments, sit down and begin to get back in there and go, okay, so this is what I achieved before. Just because there has been a break in your paid employment doesn't mean that you are any less. It just means that you have had a different experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said paid workplace and workplace, because home is a workplace.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's brilliant. Just to let people know, careertolove.com is where people can find you, and also at The Career Psychologist. You're there on Instagram, on social media.
Yeah.
Sinead Brady, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much this morning.
Thanks a million.
Cheers.
Very interesting, Sinead. Thank you for that.
We'll be back with you on Ireland Day very shortly.
Oh, it's great to have you back. We were talking earlier, what were we talking about earlier for
We're
this?
talking about mitching school because of Harry Styles.
Oh, because Harry Styles. So some Leaving Cert student wrote to Norma Foley asking, could they put back, not the concert, the Leaving Cert?
Yeah.
So that the people of Ireland could go to Harry Styles.
The nation of Leaving and Junior Cert students of Ireland would appreciate it if there was no exam around the 10th of June. Fair play to that person, I love him.
We've asked for your stories about mitching. And Mary said, when we were young, there was a hole in the ditch behind our school. It soon became known as an escape route when we were having a day off. So I headed for it on one occasion. Only to realise that the principal also knew about this. I nearly wet myself when I saw him poke his head through to say hello.
The surprise, that was it. A message here that says, the one and only time I tried to skip school, I was caught by my Irish teacher. She called my dad to give him an earful, but he knew how awful she was to all of us. So he corroborated my story that I had a dental appointment. You should have seen the look on her face as I skipped out the school gates. Well done for not dobbing your daughter in.
Yeah,
Love that.
fair play, Dad. Yeah, exactly. Love this one as well, Tracy. I never minded my children missing out on the odd school day for something a bit fun. One time, when I took my daughters out of school for a concert, I wrote a note to their teacher saying I was taking them to a cultural event. And it is. Concerts, like, I'm all for life outside school and, you know, a day away from the old sums to go off to a concert.
Cultural event. They used to take us to the cinema all the time.
Who, the school did?
Yeah, my geography teacher, Chris, he took us to Saving Private Ryan because it had been filmed partially in Ireland. So he thought, that's geography. So let's just go and watch a 3-hour movie.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, anyway, if you want to take your kids to any concerts or anything going on this year, get them in the diary, because that's where we're going to be discussing next. All the concerts going on in 2023, ones you want to look out for. That's coming up after the break. Now it's shaping up to be a great year for music with an unmissable lineup of gigs to choose from.
Oh, look at that. That's news. Joining us to preview what's on offer is Today FM's Ed Smith.
Also known
as Ed Smith, and broadcaster Paul Ryder.
The man who led Moore in Australia on a number of occasions. That's for another day, is it?
We worked together for many, many years.
That has
very
to happen
happily.
at night time on Virgin.
Yeah. Let's not get involved in that. Okay, so we're going to be talking about some of these gigs that are coming up. And one band that I'm very, very excited about, Arctic Monkeys, are back.
Arctic Monkeys are back. They've just released the album last year in October called The Car. I was one of the few that didn't quite get into the car, as it were. And I'm interested. So they're playing in June. It was originally scheduled for Malahide Castle, but it's now moved to Marley Park, and no one knows why that is. But just having listened to the new album, I'd be interested to see how it's going to translate to a live It's very laid back. It's very low key.
But will they be like? Are we going to hear Mardy Bum? Are we going to Are they going to bring out?
I think they're quite sometimes adverse to playing the bangers that we'd. I
hate that.
I know. I find it very
because they're always touring that album. There's so many here who are touring brand new albums, and they're only going to play that sort of music. They might dip into some of the older bits, but they are there just to promote that album and for you to.
Does Ozzy Osbourne have a new album?
There's no new album because there's so many. This is No More Tours Part 2. So the last No More Tours happened in 1992, and he said to himself, do you know what? Actually, I'd say Sharon said, right, let's off you go one more time. And he had brought No More Tours back in 2019 to do a second version of this, his second farewell tour.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, COVID hit, he got sick. So now it's back again, and he's back on the road. And it is all the bangers. I think he is going to play a good bit of everything.
But he's got his Parkinson's is quite advanced now.
Yes.
You know, I saw pictures of him or video of him walking over Christmas, and you know, fair play to him for going out there. I think we were at the Phil Collins gig a few years ago where he had to sit down for the whole gig, obviously, because he was in so much pain. But, you know, it is going to be a different sort of performance.
It will be a different sort of performance, but I think even through all of Ozzy's ailments and his sickness and stuff like that, the man loves to perform. He loves to get up there.
His voice still sounds great as well.
Yeah, he still sounds great. So I think it will be a good one for the rock fans.
Seems an odd one when he's so ill. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be really impressive as well. Lizzo, now 3 Arena. I would say you've the tickets booked already, ready to rock. I mean, it's going to be classic. That's going to be rocking.
Well, we were at the Olympia gig.
Yes.
Yes. We. When was that?
2019.
And that is one of the most, how will I say, the atmosphere in the Olympia that night was almost dangerous.
It was.
Absolutely.
Never been at a gig like it in my entire life.
I was there. It was unbelievable.
It felt like the ground was lifting off.
Yeah.
Everyone was so in sync with this person who performed out of her skin.
Yeah.
She's got that energy. I call her the big girl energy, and she says it herself because she just wants to get out there and she wants to give us a good performance. I loved the 3 Olympia gig, but I'm hoping it translates to the same thing now being in the 3 Arena. It's such a bigger space. It's such a bigger deal. But I think that this person will bring such a whopper gig. This is the special tour. And again, it's because her latest album, her 4th album now, is out and she's touring that album. But you know that she's not just going to lend into just that album. She's going to go back through the last 3 albums before that.
Are you surprised she wouldn't play a bigger venue than 3?
I think that's where she's at.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think would it work on an outdoor.
No.
Maybe at a festival at night, but I don't think she's quite. I think that's just the pitch perfect place to see her.
And I think that she likes that audience. I think she likes that kind of intimate audience for the moment between the Olympia and 3 Arena.
Now, I think that she could have sold out more because, her tickets were gone so quickly.
Yeah,
they were hotcakes that time.
You couldn't.
Yeah, it was very intense getting those tickets. But I think she could have done 2 or 3 nights easy. Yeah.
Okay. I really think that she could have. People would love to have seen that. Now, Tom Grennan. This is a guy, charming fella. His family is from Laois.
Yeah.
No, they're from Offaly, are they? Or are they Laois?
People are from Offaly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's been knocking around for a while. Great voice.
Great voice. I actually had the great privilege and honour of seeing Tom Grennan at a showcase gig about 4 or 5 years ago from Sony, who brought me into a little room and a few of us, and he was such a standout performer even then. Really nice fella. He's had some massive hits. Hundreds of millions of streams on Spotify, some of the biggest radio hits of last year. So it's time for him now. He's playing Fairview on the 30th.
Yeah, Fairview on the 30th
of June. It'll be a great gig. Like he knows how his way around a good old decent radio pop tune, which is rare these days. He's got a great voice, and it'll be a great one.
I mean, speaking of Irish acts as well, let's move on to Dermot Kennedy. I mean, he's got a couple of cracker events coming up as well. Limerick and in Dublin.
Like, there's Marley Park in July with the 2 dates, and then Limerick and Thomond Park for the 3 dates. And, like, look, we saw the popularity grow. The latest album, Sonder, has just taken over completely. This man has just taken over completely.
Yeah.
And it's that typical Irish thing of, we love the fact that he's Irish. And this is a gig that even if you weren't a big, massive fan of Dermot Kennedy, you'd go with your mates, you'd get a few drinks in, and you'd just sit there and listen to the music, because even if you didn't know the names of songs, you're going to go, you're going to enjoy the whole concert. He is going to, like, after 70,000 people at Electric Picnic in September last year, his star is just completely on the rise, and I think this is going to be a pinnacle of his career to play these gigs this year.
I saw him live, though, and it's a fantastic concert, but his music is quite sombre, isn't it, though? Like, it wasn't, like,
everyone
rockin'.
at that gig will know every single word,
like it's
every
a
single song, and it's going to be a very, a communal atmosphere, because those who like him love him, and when they sing along, it's really going to get caught up in this and the sweeping emotion of Dermot Kennedy.
Pre-pandemic, I went to see a Gavin James gig, and Gavin would be the same. He's quite, somber.
Oh, yeah.
But that was one of the best gigs I've ever seen. Like, they make it what it is. They know it's somber music, so they add in the nuances around it. And I guarantee you, Ed Sheeran, they'll do the exact same thing here.
And when he brings out Mary Kennedy, his aunt.
Yes, and they do
just
dancing...
for in the middle, and they go first.
She does a samba.
It just changes everything.
It's the body popping. I didn't know she was
changes Mary when she starts doing that.
So supple.
And then she does some judgment, and there are. I'm not even joking, because Mary and Deirdre do sing together. Her sister, they're his aunts, and I would actually genuinely love for them to come out during a
gig.
If
I was to meet Dermot Kennedy, I'd say, listen, can I get an autograph?
Of your aunt.
Of your Aunt Mary.
Because she's asked about him all the time.
Oh, exactly. When she's been on here, we always have to ask her about Dermot and vice versa.
To be fair, we've spoken to him and we've like, how's your aunt? How's Mary? So that's
Does he qualify as a Nepo baby? I don't know if that's...
Come on, let's talk comeback gigs. There's two big ones, The Prodigy and Blur. Both come back to Ireland.
Blur, great to see this. They haven't played in Ireland since 2015. They were promoting the album The Magic Whip.
Yes.
They've announced a big gig in Wembley on July the 8th. But they're coming here first. And look, Blur, probably the defining band of the Britpop era.
Yeah.
They absolutely won that battle with
Ahead
Oasis.
of Oasis.
Look at him, the disgust on his face.
At the time, I was more... At the time, I was Blur. But actually, looking back on it, I think actually Oasis.
I think Blur, to my mind... Okay. You're a tall man, Tommy, and you could probably take me out in one fell swoop. But I've got low sense of gravity. I will fight you on this. Blur, Damon Albarn has proven himself to be, I think, the better and more prolific songwriter than Noel
With
Gallagher.
Gorillaz
That
and
aside, they've got an incredible amount of hits, iconic, like Girls and Boys and all the rest.
And they play them.
And that's the great thing about Blur. They're not snobby about giving people what they want. It is very much being pitched as a comeback reunion. Let's celebrate our history.
Is that sold out? It's in Malahide Castle on June 24th.
Not quite yet.
Oasis would be sold out.
Oh, here we go. I do
would.
think a lot of it has to do with the transport links to Malahide for an awful lot of people. Like a friend of mine is coming up from Cork and she's like, where am I? Our friend in Malahide is, I think she's got 57 people staying with her.
Yeah.
Because it's like getting back into town. It's hard when it's Malahide.
That was before the concert.
Yeah, we're all
just to get accommodation in Dublin.
They just have to have a gig now. That happens.
Well, what about the Prodigy then?
Prodigy
because Keith is not...
Keith Flint passed away. This is their second gig now since Keith is gone, and I think that they're doing a really small set. They're only playing kind of Belfast, Cork and Dublin. And I think it was because when they came here the last time, they enjoyed the Irish audiences so much that they're back again to kind of do it all again in memory of Keith Flint, who passed away a couple of years back. So I think, again, they'll play the bangers. You can guarantee that's only going to be the songs you want to hear.
A man who he's got a timeshare in the country. Bruce Springsteen is back again this year.
Boss man is
Himself
back.
and Bob Dylan.
It's his first time. Yeah, I mean, what can you say about Bruce? I could play Bruce Springsteen every night, every song on my show on Today FM, and people wouldn't bat an eyelid because he is up there. He could be run for president of Ireland at this stage. His shows are the stuff of legend. They go on for about 4 days.
On average,
you've got to pitch up a tent, you've got to bring food. So it's the 5th, 7th and 9th in the RDS. He's going back to the RDS where he last played, and he recorded the gig for posterity because everyone that comes to Ireland wants that to be their DVD or their live album. Because the Irish crowds are
I have to ask about Elton John, though, as well. Is this another farewell?
It's going around again. Yeah,
right,
it's the farewell roundabout, so he's going to do this again for a while, I would say. But look, it's a whopper show. It's an absolutely unbelievable show. It's going to be... And then he's going to finish everything in Glastonbury, which is kind of iconic.
Yeah.
To finish your
when
career
Dolly Parton was in Glastonbury and all that
Finish his career in Glastonbury, is he?
He's not going to... He's going to be back. Diddle-danding all over the place.
Popstar remix another one of his songs. We'll hear it 19 times a day.
Yeah.
Elton John's not going nowhere.
He hasn't done a duet with Bieber yet or any of them, so
that'll be the next one.
That is going to happen. From Today FM, Ed Smith, thank you so much. And Paul Ryder, thank you so much for coming in. A pleasure chatting to you
Ed,
this
we'll
morning.
get you back another time to talk to us about the stories about you two. The glory days.
That's a 6-part series.
Okay, he kept mentioning gigs. He kept mentioning gigs here. That I was like, I was at that one with you. I was at that one with you.
We have loads more Ireland Out coming up after the break. Don't go away.
Hello, welcome Welcome back. It's time to do some fashion. We've got the lovely Mandy Marr here this morning.
Hey, Mandy, good morning.
And
How
a
are you?
Happy New Year to you both.
Happy New
And to you.
Year. We're still Christmassy, actually, so it's totally and utterly fine to be saying stuff like that.
Yeah. Tell us, you've got the leggings on this morning. We're going a bit more active wear, are we?
We sure are. It's all about being active. And of course, a lot of people this time of year are making good choices about getting back into fitness. But if you're not the person, if you're like myself, where you're buying a whole load of cream eggs and eating them and you just want to look well, this morning it's all about fabulous leisure wear.
Very good. Okay.
Some
well,
great
first
pieces to show you
off,
today.
What have we got?
So I'm delighted to showcase this beautiful brand. It's called Fourth Arc, and it's from the Irish influencer, well-known Irish influencer Rosie Connolly Quinn. Herself and her husband came up with these designs during COVID, and they actually set up this business, and I'm loving it because it's a really, really on-trend look, and as I call it, the urban trend look this morning. Starting off with this great little beanie, simple little knit beanie. They have them in a variety of colours, but I think sometimes with a beanie, something like this kind of sets off the look as well. It makes it really cool looking.
Love it. Can you get away with the beanie?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't know if I can get away with it.
I love the way you went straight away. Oh, yeah, I look amazing in a
get away with
beanie.
it. I love
Take the
them.
dog for a walk. That's great.
Now, with the styling with this, we just went a little bit different with this. So we actually have this gorgeous sweater, and as you see here, it's in the winter white, but we actually put the black version tied around the
You
shoulder.
went full-on Instagram
I'm telling
influencer
you,
here
there
with
you
that sort of a
go.
tie.
And it's just to make it a little bit more funky and a little bit different. But again, like that, what I love about the quality of this, the quality is incredible, but they're also fleece-lined inside as well, so they're super warm and comfy too.
Very nice.
And then you see then these gorgeous joggers and great pockets as well. And if we notice as well, a lot of sportswear, you're going to see blazers, an oversized blazer over this could look really, really super trendy as well.
And that is blazers, leggings, and what are they called? Tracksuits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So the full look. And like you even see,
Katie.
I wore a blazer myself this morning. It's just make it a little bit more funkier and different if you want to.
And here we have Victoria.
And we have Victoria, so we're staying with Fourth Arc. And this time we're going showing this gorgeous fleece jacket. And to note on the jacket itself is that it's actually unisex, so it obviously men can wear it as well, which is great. And the difference with this is that it actually has a drawstring, which will make it, you can actually change the sizing from it in regard to whether it's a male or a female by drawing in the string on it as well. So it's a super clever idea.
I love it. Now, I think I had one of these in the 90s. You know, when you had that sort of... Not a T-shirt,
Oh,
but
right.
the jacket, you know, when you've got the raincoat material and then the lovely fleece.
Yeah, and it's lovely, and it works, and it's quite cool. And this is actually just brand new into them since December as well. But the T-shirt for me, I'm absolutely love this. I think it's kind of like a dynasty vibe with the
Have you
shoulder
rolled
pads.
that in?
No, it's actually designed like that. Isn't it lovely?
It's got like a pad, is it?
Yeah, it's
shoulder
a pad,
pads?
it's shoulder pads. Listen, we're going back to the dynasty and jealousy.
one of those
There you
today.
go, you're bang on trend. But you know what I love about this? Obviously, it's part of the leisure wear look, but as well like that, I think a T-shirt like this could look super cool with a pair of leggings or a pair of, a leather skirt. I think just to change it up a little bit, you could easily wear this with lots of other
Yeah,
bits in
I
your
wear them all
wardrobe.
summer as well.
Yeah.
Loads of chains and with jeans. They're
you're-
really
and
You
handy.
can wear it out playing rugby as well. It'd be
Well,
perfect
I don't know
shoulder
about
pads
the
for
rugby now
tackle
on
and
that.
stuff as well. Perfect.
But I'm loving the leggings as well. Again, like that, the leggings, as we see in the long version, but they also have them in the shorts as well. Also high-waisted, which is good. And
Now, let's talk about these socks.
Aren't the socks
Because every
cool?
time I try to do this, I look like I got dressed in the dark.
No,
I try to put on the socks over the thing, and it's like, everyone's like,
It does
stadia.
work. And as I said, that's what the urban trend is all about, it's having the
Do you
socks
pull
out
it
over
up to
me.
the very top? Like, is it right up? Or is it
They
kind of like
are
a-
like they are an ankle sock, so
Okay,
yeah, so
okay.
it's just to make it really
Oh, there we
edgy
go.
and cool. So we're not
Brilliant.
forgetting the
Brian.
men this morning either, and we have our gorgeous Brian, and this full look is from Brown Thomas in Galway, and of course, as we know, in Dublin, Limerick and Cork. But I'm loving this full look from Calvin Klein, and I think he really looks the part this morning.
Very cool, yeah.
What's going on here?
So again, starting with this gorgeous beanie hat, they have them in a variety of colours, of course, with their logo in front. But the gilet is the one that does it for me. I love gilets because I think they're a piece of that should be in your wardrobe. Definitely timeless, and you can wear it all year round, which is for me is a winner.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice. You've layered it up as well, haven't you?
Yes, we've styled it completely different this morning. So if you're on your way to the gym, you're going to really look the part. I think there's no doubt about that. The way we did it this morning is that we actually teamed up with a shirt underneath the gilet itself. And like that, we could have gone with the shirt inside if we wanted to, but we wanted to make it look a bit extra cooler, and that's why we had the shirt outside.
That's very
But
cool.
it's nice, isn't it? Yeah, I love this look as
It's
well.
like you could wear the gym gear, then stick the shirt on to head off to work.
Yeah, you could do. There you go. I'm loving that. And underneath, of course, we have the sweatshirt itself. A gorgeous, again, beautiful quality cotton sweater. And I love the shade in this. I think the shade, the colour of blue in this is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's quite
it's
different.
really lovely.
Yeah.
So that's a matching tracksuit.
And full matching tracksuit, and the joggers then itself, again, like that, full length. They do come in a shorter version as well. And then we teamed it up, of course, with this great Ted Baker gym bag as well.
It looks like a tent. Looks like you're
I
off.
thought it was going to be like a toolbox. He's off to
did
do
you?
like tools in there. But
God, I don't know what sort of a gear bag you have.
Up to later on. What are you going
Here's
doing?
Brian heading to the gym straight off after.
And he looks really great, but I'm loving that look. And it's kind of cool. And that's what the whole thing about leisure wear now is. It's about embracing leisure wear and looking cool and different. And that's what we all want, and comfortable at the same time, but not giving up on style either.
Like
and
this
that's
Katie is
Isn't
back.
this beautiful? This full look, again, it's from Brown Thomas. And I absolutely love this because, again, like that, we've been seeing a lot of beautiful leisure wear, but they've been teamed with coats, in particular, a coat like this, like a trench-style coat. Love it.
Is that Max Mara?
It is Max Mara. And it's stunning. The quality on that coat is phenomenal. And actually, this is from their Spring-Summer 23 collection. So this is a sneak peek of what they have coming in stores in the next couple of weeks.
Beautiful. And then what's the tracksuit?
The tracksuit itself is actually Sweaty Betty, a great label, well-known label. But again, like that, I can't stress enough about the quality of the clothing this morning. The quality is absolutely phenomenal. It's this gorgeous little top itself. As you see here, it has pockets in it as well. But again, like that, at the back of it, what I love about it is there's 3 little pockets at the back. So if you are that person that's hugely into fitness, whether it's running or walking, you can pop your little fitness bars into the back of it or whatever, and off you go if you're a cyclist or something like that. So it's quite clever.
What are fitness bars?
Like
They're
protein
energy bars.
Energy bars.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was like weights or something.
Sorry.
I thought you put weights in to do more. Oh,
maybe you could, only I just don't know about it.
The leggings are Sweaty Betty as well.
And the leggings are Sweaty Betty as well. And again, like that, we can see even on the front of them as well, they have got that little highlight as well. So at night time, they do light up as well to keep you quite safe for the reflectors.
Like, they're not cheap, but the quality is good. My wife loves Sweaty Betty leggings, but like, because they last so long as well.
And they literally do tuck you in. There's no doubt about it. They're great. They really suck you in all the right places without doubt. That's what I'm saying for the quality. That's what you're paying for, no doubt. And again, we decided to go a little bit more designery on the bag then as well to look the part.
Isabel Marant, love a bit of Isabel. And then we've got the runners.
And then we've got these great Steve Madden trainers as well. I love them. Actually, I love the colour of these. I just think they're fabulous. Again, like that, they're like an off-white, so they're not too starch looking. But I love the looks this morning. As I said, it's just given a new twist on the leisure wear. So if you're the person like myself that wants to look the part but not really into the gym, then ticking all the boxes.
It is, and you're doing the thing with the blazer and the sports gear.
Yeah, so it works. But thank you.
And you can also go to the gym and look the part.
I know, well, thanks very much. I need to get back to the gym after 6 cream eggs over the last few days. Don't even start me, but anyway.
It's January.
Oh,
don't
thanks.
worry about
We'll start
it.
next
Don't
month.
worry. Next month, sure, why not?
Thanks.
Great to have you with us. Thank you very much, Mandy. Why are you looking at me?
So much lip today.
Anyway, coming up, our answer to Mary Poppins is going to be here to help with decluttering. That is going to get rid of all the Christmas tree decorations and everything else for the new year. See you shortly.
See you in a minute.
Well, it's almost time to take down the Christmas decorations, or it has happened
did you do
in
it?
some people's houses. Most of them are up.
I'm a 6th of January girl, but to make it hassle-free, Kim Fitzgerald from Assorted Affair is here with her decluttering tips. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year. Lovely to see you.
Let's get cracking into it, shall we?
Because you're raring to go, as always.
Well, it's the sort of thing, it's a job no one wants to do, is put away all this
and
stuff.
I honestly feel like everyone has done it. Like, it was a real 1st of January moment on Instagram, I feel.
Is that because they... Instagram people aren't real people.
Well, everybody started mid-November.
That's
The decorations were up extra early this year.
I think everyone's just ready to go.
What have we got here? So wrapping paper, ribbons, cards, all that rubbish.
Yeah, so this is like a fancy pants version, because obviously, you know, it's me. No, cheap and cheerful from Amazon, in fairness. But it's just a little clear container. Keep them all together, put them in plastic because they can get wrecked. Another really good tip is like a garment bag, you know, like a soup bag.
Yeah.
Why are you smiling?
He's just trying to annoy Derek because Derek's trying to take a shot of it.
So a soup bag or a garment bag works really well as well. Like throw all the wrapping paper in, zip it up, zip it down.
And everything. So you put your little labels for your... Because I have them all over the house and then I can't find them the next year.
Try and keep them together.
Little things in little bags and stuff
I mean,
as well.
I got something in that bag for Christmas and I just kept it. So you just reuse anything. It's to try and kind of keep everything together.
It's just a bit of cop on. Okay.
Bits and bobs.
This is one I love.
Yeah, the
lights is fantastic.
Because I try and wrap them round and they all get and then it comes out to next December again. And
everyone
they're all
usually
over
does
the
like the
place.
cardboard trick. That's probably going a long time. You know, like just get a solid piece of cardboard and wrap it around. That's a great way to do it. I love an L Pringles tin. This one is going, as you can see, I mean, it's well loved. It's going many years, this Pringles tin.
Genius,
But it's
though.
brilliant because the end is in there and the plug is in there.
The plugs
and like,
all go in there and just wrap around.
And like if you had a couple of sets of lights, you could throw them, you know, into a clear box or into a
And
box
I've
or into a
demolished
bag.
a couple of boxes of Pringles
So
as well.
you've loads ready to
exactly,
go.
yeah,
And then the
recycled
same
bin.
thing for the smaller lights. That's just a kitchen roll that I cut up. Or you can use a toilet roll insert and
and that
make
goes in there.
sure, top tip, make sure you take the batteries out. Yeah,
Take the batteries
take
out.
the batteries out. I have a little bag here. You can
'Cause
get
they
these
go
in.
dead.
You can get these in your local. They kind of melt and ruin the lights, but you can get these in your local Aldi. Most of the stores are doing it, and it's a recycle your batteries for Barrettstown. So they're really handy.
Oh,
Yeah,
very good.
So don't forget to take them out.
Very good.
I like that. That's a great idea.
It's a good
Yeah,
one. And then,
yeah.
again, putting them in a box, that's just a shoe box, just to try and keep them safe and contained. Now, there's actually not robins in there.
There's not robins
but
in there,
again,
Robins
when I go home, there'll be robins in there.
Oh, when you're
But
finished.
again, it's trying to use up all the different containers that you have. So
What
my
does-
children got arts and crafts in this.
Yeah.
You're dying to know what the pink Christmas tree is.
Do you have a
isn't it?
pink Christmas tree in
Yeah,
your
well,
house?
I may or may not be a slight Monica when it comes to my Christmas tree. So I let the children go mad on a little pink one in their bedroom.
Ah, very good.
You know.
Let them do that. So
Because
you've
they're
got your
not
own
allowed to
one.
go near the real one.
So, well, they do, but then when they go to bed,
So
they
hold on.
change it.
So this is the stuff. So you then put them. This is for the pink Christmas tree,
This
and
is-
then you're
yeah, you should do that. So if you do have a couple of different trees, you should try and kind of
them all
put like for
together.
like together. It just makes
Yeah.
it really easy. You're like, right, that goes into the front room, that goes into the, you know.
Yeah, no, I love that. All the different
Helps.
boxes.
But,
it
like,
just means when
keep-
you're putting them all out, you know what is what. which is
Exactly.
brilliant.
Yeah, and the label maker, obviously.
Brilliant.
You love that.
Yeah.
What have we got? So this is for a bigger tree then?
This
Just
is for a bigger
more
tree. This is
storage
also a
again?
pink Christmas tree. I mean, this is a tiny one they brought today. You can get them any shop you walk into now, even your local Dunn stores,
Yeah.
is just covered in clear containers.
But it's also with all the stuff that you get at Christmas. Just think of the boxes, keep them, and then put all the stuff in it.
That's just little head plan box. I got a little finance thing in it, and I have all my like delicate ones in there. You know, wrapped in bubble wrap.
Oh,
and again,
Warren would need a few of them.
I love this.
Warren goes buys decorations now that they're on sale, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I like that
For next
idea.
year.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
very-
come on.
Yeah, that's very good.
Because some of them are quite expensive,
are.
and you just have your eye on them.
That's a
and
great
then I
idea.
get them.
And as long as you store them with all the Christmas stuff and don't forget about them.
No,
that's
absolutely
the trick.
not.
Yeah.
And
so
I love putting all the decorations away, like the tissue paper
yeah.
and the bubble wrap and all
yeah,
that.
nice. Yeah.
It's the one area of my life that I actually know
Is
what
this
I'm
why
doing.
you also love hoovering the walls?
It's her
I
secret
do like
organisation.
hoovering the walls.
I like it. You must love that. Now, Tommy thought we were just going to play a game of
He
the
got
floor
very
is lava.
excited.
My kids adore
Yeah,
Floor
we
is
got
Lava.
this off Santa this year, and it's a big hit. So it was a push for me to put it in the bag last night. But what I'm suggesting is a lot of stuff has come into the house. A lot of things in boxes, Lego in boxes, board games in boxes. You get these little zippy organisers, and you take it out of the box and into here, and you will get so much more. You know, on a shelf, in a basket, whatever it may be, and you just label it up. And it's much easier for the kids to put away. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen a child try to put a game in a box? It's disastrous.
The bane of my life.
They usually either rip it open or just like shove it in or
But
whatever.
what about when it's a collector's item in 50 years' time and you don't have the box?
I don't know if the Floor is Lava is going to be a collector's
And to be fair with
item.
this as well, my kids see a box and just want to open it.
Yeah.
And then see another box and just want to open it.
Yeah,
Where if
and
it's
then-
all in its little pouches
And it's just really
stuff.
easy, zip open and close. And you can actually, like, you could cut the Floor is Lava off
put
and
it-
turn that into the little label if you didn't have
So
a
space
label maker.
savers.
Yes,
Space savers.
absolutely.
People need space
absolutely.
savers. That's it.
Also, another little tip is to do a Christmas 23 list. So when you have packed everything away, so you might say, okay, one set of lights is broken, I need to replace them. You know, get them in the sale now. Put up that I've stored away 2 full sheets of wrap or 2 full rolls of wrapping paper, 20 Christmas cards, and put it like maybe in the end of your diary around October, November, so you don't go overbuying.
I'm sorry, that's
You're
really good
just
because I forgot where I left my Christmas decorations. They were in my mother's house and I couldn't remember where they are, so I've got it written in
There you
for
go.
next November.
Yeah, it
They're in your
does. It
mother's
really
house.
helps just to do a little
next
list.
December, it's like, we've already got these decorations. Why are you buying more?
Yeah, but even just wrapping paper, because we always
Yeah.
you'll see it, but then if you have it written down
Yeah.
somewhere, it'll just stop you from overbuying because there's just an awful lot.
Now, what is your 30-day declutter challenge?
30-day declutter challenge. You'll find it on our Instagram. 30 small little tasks that you can kind of tackle one a day, or you can can write 1 to 30 down and pluck one when you have time. Get the children involved, get the whole house involved. A couple of really simple ones to start with would be a digital declutter. So unsubscribe from all of those emails that you're getting, because we've all shopped, online shopped, and without realising it.
So say broken toys, number one, what does that mean? Just
like,
get them out.
Get them out, get
Throw
them
them out of
gone.
the
If they're
house.
broken, there's so much stuff that's coming back, like come in the door now.
Okay.
The broken ones will not be missed.
Old receipts. It was in my wife's car the other day. Opened up the glove compartment. My goodness.
That's where she hides them.
Receipts. I mean, dare not go in there
Someone
again.
has an extra Revolut account.
Yeah. Odd socks, let them go. Yeah, love that.
Odd socks is a great one to do with the children. Like, make a big pile of odd socks in the middle and set a timer and be like, right, whoever can make the most pairs wins.
Okay,
you know, so
great.
try and turn everything into a game.
Is it okay if you're 39? You did it. When I read this last night, I went, oh, I'm going to go and do that right now. And it was
absolutely.
very
And
cathartic.
we also play the floor as lava sometimes at home with physical items. So get everything off the floor. So in the toy room or the bedroom.
What
you
about
know?
the WhatsApp history and photos?
Oh yeah, you need to get rid of them.
It breaks your heart
It
doing that, though,
doesn't it? Clear chat.
Oh, all the
yeah.
memories.
But it's a great one, you know. There's little easy tasks in there that will make you feel good and won't take too much time.
And it's on your Instagram?
It's on our Instagram. You'll find it.
Assorted Affair.
Assorted Affair.
You will find it there. A little
Yes.
save it.
Save
Follow
it.
it. Have it there for
Yeah.
you. Kim Fitzgerald, your bridesmaid tomorrow.
I am.
Maid of honour for your
Keen
sister.
and Jessica are getting married tomorrow.
Happy wedding, Keen and
Have a great
Jessica. I hope
day.
you have a lovely time. She's ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
Kim, thank you very much for that. Now, come on for tomorrow's show. All-star Camogie star Ursula Jacob is going to be stopping by for a chat.
And we're going to have a lessons in breaking bad habits.
And
not haggis.
lots more. Thanks for joining us today. We will see you bright and early tomorrow.
Bye.